You go to a nice restaurant, scan the menu, and happily pay a premium because the pasta says handmade. We assume that extra cost buys us a dish crafted entirely by human hands. But if you step inside a real pasta production facility, that belief shatters pretty quickly. It forces a question most of us never ask. What does handmade actually mean in the modern food industry? We're paying for a specific image of authenticity, an image that remains on the packaging, even when the production floor looks nothing like the kitchen we imagine. When we hear that word, we all picture the exact same thing: a solitary chef standing in a rustic Italian kitchen, slowly cutting dough on a flour-covered wooden table. We watch someone carefully assembling individual pasta nests, and that slow, deliberate care feels real. It feels inherently superior to anything pumped out of a factory. But that deeply emotional image represents only a tiny, largely unrepresentative fraction of how modern handmade pasta is actually produced. The modern reality looks a lot more industrial. We're talking massive machines and thousands of units produced every single minute. At first glance, it feels a bit jarring. It's easy to look at mass production and assume it strips the soul and tradition right out of the food. But look closer at the environmental controls. These facilities operate on exact measurements and highly regulated temperatures. This level of mechanical precision eliminates human error entirely. Because there's no variation, every single batch that rolls off the line is perfectly uniform and absolutely identical to the last. Seeing this forces you to rethink things. Handmade might not be a guaranteed mark of higher quality. It might simply be a less controlled method of production. And that brings us to the legal side of things. The word handmade isn't a strict absolute. It absolutely does not mandate zero automation. There's a massive loophole. If a product is just started, finished, or inspired by hand, it legally earns that premium label. Dough can be mixed by an industrial auger, rolled by cylinders, and cut by blades, and the box still gets stamped handmade. When you realize that, it completely changes how you look at the boxes sitting on the shelves of your local grocery store. Handmade operates primarily as a marketing category to justify a higher price, rather than a literal description of how the food was manufactured. We carry around this automatic assumption that the human touch guarantees high quality, and that machine-made food is inherently worse. But humans get tired. Over a long shift, a person's arms ache, cuts become uneven, and thickness starts to fluctuate. This graph illustrates the difference over a 10-hour shift. While the human consistency line fluctuates as fatigue sets in, machines follow strict, unwavering parameters. That perfectly flat line means even cooking and predictable textures every single time. In fact, if we look back at historical, top-tier artisanal pasta makers, they relied on automated rolling machines specifically to maintain strict quality control. So if perfect texture and reliable cooking are how we measure culinary quality, machines perform objectively better than human hands. The purpose of these factories isn't to erase culinary tradition. They exist to solve a massive logistical problem: global scale. Modern food distribution requires immense volume. You have to produce enough pasta to stock thousands of stores simultaneously, all over the world. Manual methods physically cannot meet that demand. To survive in the global market, you need unparalleled speed and efficiency. These high-speed drying systems stabilize and package thousands of pounds of product hourly. They handle a volume manual labor simply can't touch. Ultimately, mass production successfully scaled a localized, slow-moving craft into a global commodity available on every street corner. The choice between these two methods comes down to what the buyer values. Purchasing handmade pasta is an emotional transaction where you are buying an experience and a human story. Factory pasta, wrapping those identical units on the line, is a practical purchase of absolute consistency. Once you realize that, you can stop judging your food by romanticized marketing labels and start appreciating the distinct systems, both human and mechanical, that actually put it on your plate.